away, days burn, disintegrate, years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
In the 1980s, we were bombarded with an incredible amount of action figure lines. Companies would take big swings trying new things all the time. And one of the things Kenner tried in 1986 was to release a new line of boys action figures focused around Chuck Norris. Now, in a previous video, we took a look at these wacky figures. The figures themselves were actually pretty great, but the weapons they all came with were bizarre. Well, today we're going to take another dive into the Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos world and look at Chuck's buddies, Kimo, Tabe, and Reed. And they equally have some crazy, crazy weapons. But we're going to still do our best to get these weapons back into their hands and then maybe give them a place to hang out.
Chuck Norris Karate Commandos.
Break it up, crack it down, fight and wash the beetle wherever they're found.
Location Hong Kong Harbor. Assignment, locate smuggled warheads. Oh no, Ninja Warriors! Reed and I threw 3 perfect strikes. Up next, Super Ninja. It was my karate against his. And theirs. Up for us, Kimo and the Karate Vet. A flip, a chop, a shot. This ball game was over for now.
Kenner's Chuck Norris Karate Commandos, products sold separately.
Alright, so here's the figures for today. We're looking at Kimo, the samurai, and he has this kind of chopping action. And then we also have Reed, he's this Chuck's apprentice, and he's got this flying double kick. And then we also have Tabe, the sumo wrestler, and he's got this move where if you open his arms and squeeze his legs, he leans back and closes his arms. It's a classic sumo move, I think. But the first one we're going to look at today is Chuck's apprentice, Reed. Now, Reed suffered from the same thing all the Chuck Norris figures did, which was super weird, unrecognizable weapons. So he had this big staff that came apart into 2 pieces. So let's just see if we can't recreate it. So here's his staff, and comes in 2 pieces, and I think they look great. Well, they look, I think, just like the staff. It's a weird weapon, and it goes together like that. So Reed is all set to take on any ninjas or terrorists or whoever else steps in his path. He can hit him with these things. So next up, we're going to look at Kimo. He's the samurai. Now, he came with a weird fan weapon, but also just a regular generic sword. So this is going to be our first regular weapon we make for any of the Chuck Norris figures. Let's start with this fan weapon. Alright, and I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I think it looks just like the fan weapon he came with, and it should fit right into his hand. Beautiful. So he's good to go now. And now we get to just make a regular samurai sword. Sword. Again, nothing really fancy here, but just a regular samurai sword. It looks great. It should just fit right into his back holster here. Very good. And yeah, and we'll put it in his hand as well. His karate chop hand also holds it. And now he's ready to do battle. Yeah, I love that. I love that we got a regular weapon. But up next is Tabe, the sumo wrestler. Now he's going to be a bit interesting because he came with this gold and blue samurai skirt, or I guess sumo wrestling skirt, and then these 2 weird shield weapons. So we're going to start by making up his skirt. We're going to go into PowerPoint, see if we can't make a template, and then import that into 3D space and make him up a skirt. water trick to soften this up so we can mold it around him. And so I'm just going to take a bowl, because this is a big skirt, and put some just boiled water in there. If you're doing this at home, be careful because it is hot. And then we're just going to take that and shape it around him, and hopefully we can get it so it looks kind of like it did back in the day. Look at that. With very little effort, he's now got his sumo skirt on, so let's make him up his weird shield weapons. Alright, so here are the shield weapons we made up, and I think, again, they look, I think they look a lot like the ones that came in the 80s. These weapons are crazy, but he is ready to go, and the gold we used really looks quite fantastic. So that's exciting. I'm really excited about how all three of these figures turned out. They are ready to stand on the shelf, shoulder to shoulder, with all the Chuck Norris figures we did in the last video. Now, because 2025 has quickly become the year of the playset over here at Gofigure, we've made a few playsets for a few different toy lines. I thought, what playset can I make for Chuck Norris? And I think every martial artist needs to have a dojo. So that's what I think we're going to do, make up a dojo. Now, because there was 8 figures in the Chuck Norris line, I thought we could make a modular one, you know, with our time machine, and say, what if these 8 figures all came with a piece or pieces of the dojo? So it's with 8 figures, they could all come with a piece of the floor, and then 4 of them could come with back wall pieces, and 4 could come with items for the dojo to be assembled into a dojo playset. So let's start, and we'll start by making the floors and the back walls. Alright, so here are the 8 floor pieces that we've made up, and this place is going to be bigger than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so these are what they look like, and we'll be able to piece them all together. And then here are the back panels for the back wall. Tried to make them look as dojo-like as possible, and those will just click in together here like that, and we'll have ourselves a little play set. Now the other thing is, I don't want to have any fasteners on here, so I indented the back here and printed up these little clips that are going to just snap into place here. And what I'm going to do is put a magnet in there, and also do the same thing for the items we put in there. So there'll be magnet. Here's the little magnet. We're just going to fit it into these little clips that I made, and they'll magnet into place so that the items can be held in place, but also be removed and have just an empty floor. So that's what we're going to do, and the magnet will stick on just like that on the bottom of the item. So I think that's going to be a great way to do it. So let's get this dojo together. Alright, so here's our dojo playset. I think it's looking like a lot of fun. So the question is, what do we put into a dojo? And so the first thing is that it seems karate guys are always breaking bricks and boards and stuff. They're always just smashing things to kind of prove how karate strong they are. So I think we need to make a little station here where we can break some boards in Chuck Norris's dojo. So here's our board breaking station, and it magnets right into place there. And here's our breakaway board, and we're starting to have some activities in our dojo. The next thing is that every dojo's got a heavy bag so that even Chuck Norris can practice his deadly punches. And so we need to make one of these so that all the Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos can practice their moves. Alright, so now we've printed up our stand for the heavy bag, and it just, again, magnets into place there. And then here's the bag itself and its little eye hook. And so we'll just put those together, and now the warriors will be ready to train to take on any mission or villain they encounter. Now, because this whole toy line was riddled with just crazy weapons, I thought, let's make a weapons rack with some regular weapons for Chuck and his buddies. So I couldn't find Chuck Norris to ask what we put in there, but I found the next best thing. Alright, so here is our weapons rack, and it just will fit right into there, and we can just load it up with the weapons that we made here, that the bow staffs and the tonfas and the kamas and the sais, and we'll just load up this rack. I think this worked out really nicely. Alright, that weapons rack looks great. I've even put one of Kimo's swords in there, just to have an extra. Now, when I saw the movie Bruce Lee, The Legend, with Jason Scott Lee, he had this cool training dummy, and I thought we should get something like that in there. And in the video game version of that same Dragon Bruce Lee, it was a different kind of, it was sort of like it, but different. So I thought a combination of those two with a little Chuck Norris spun in there would work. So my favorite Chuck Norris movie is the Octagon, and so with an Octagon theme homage, we're going to make a version of a training dummy for Chuck's Dojo. So here is the training tool, and it kind of has that vibe, and it's got these little targets that I made up for the side, which kind of hang off the end here, and then when they're all on there, Chuck can knock them off, and hopefully with the magnet design, it'll just spin on its own. So we'll see what happens here, but I think that dojo is looking great.
So there you go. There's our second look at Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos. I'm really excited about today's episode. I love the weapons we made for these figures, as bananas as they are. I think they look great. But creating that dojo playset was so much fun. I don't know where I'm going to put the thing, it's so big. But it is a great place for Chuck and all his buddies to hang out and train and do battle. But if you had as much fun as I did today, make sure you like and share and subscribe and do all the YouTube stuff. If you want, you can support Gofigure on Patreon. Helps make crazy playsets like this and videos like this. But mostly just I want to hear from you in the comments, and I hope to see you back here for the next video.